So the last video in my Elliptigo Way series here was my first ride on the Elliptigo. And that first ride, just a couple days ago, occurred 28 days before the Elliptigo World Championships. So I don't have much time to get ready for the World Championships in this new athletic form, this amazing Elliptigo form that I'm pretty excited about now. So the question is, what do I do? You know, how do I compress a whole lot of training that'll get me ready for this championship into literally 28 days from my first day, my first time ever riding one of these machines, to competing in the World Championships. So, well, thankfully I'm retired, so I have unlimited time in which to try to get this done. Of course, you can only do so much training, you know. It's called overtraining when you do too much, and that won't help me either. But I live on this, so my idea is there are two places where I'm going to be doing this training. Right next to where I live here is the San Gabriel River Trail, San Gabriel River Bike Path. About 35 miles, goes from the sand of Seal Beach to the San Gabriel Mountains. And I've already done it a couple times, and I'll do it a few more, but I'm gonna ride all the way to the end and back. I'll take enough liquid and calories with me to do that. And I'll ride it as hard as I can for something that's gonna be up to 5 hours long, or just under that maybe. And you know, I'm gonna try to really adapt my legs in those long efforts. So, you know, 75-mile rides on the thing, about that. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find a hill near me, which is not that easy, but anyway, I'm gonna have to look into that. But this video will be about whatever hill I found, whatever experiences I've had on the San Gabriel River Bike Path. One of the things that I'm finding is this Elliptigo is so great for easily accessing an intense effort. I mean, even though I wasn't on a hill, just on the relatively flat San Gabriel River Bike Path, I've gotten my heart rate into the middle 170s, middle 170 beats per minute, which, you know, as I mentioned before, that's way higher than my maximum heart rate's supposed to be for someone who's 65. So anyway, what that means is I can get an awesome workout, the kind of intensity that I'll likely experience in the World Championships, even on the flats, you know, on the San Gabriel River Trail. But I also probably need to get on a hill, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, this will be a video about the sort of training experiences. And then I anticipate the next video will be the World Championships. So I'm really looking forward to this. Love training on this thing. I think it's like an amazing workout form, and just really happy to be able to do it. And gonna head on out now. So here we are at the beginning of or the end, depending on how you look at it, of the San Gabriel River Bike Path. You can see the surf breaks into the river, and there's a nice sandbar here, and you can see ships waiting to get into the harbor, Long Beach Harbor. So we'll just go to the map up here of the whole 35 miles or so of completely off-road, amazing bike path right alongside the river. Since I live in Seal Beach, I regard this as the beginning of the bike path. I'm sure some people regard it as the end if they live further inland. San Gabriel River Trail. And
Pretty good map. Another map of the trail. San Gabriel River Trail. Oh, you can see the elevation there on the bottom. So it gains about maybe 650 to 700 feet of elevation over the very gradual course. 35.36 miles, elevation gain 699 feet. Pretty cool. heart rate 174. Pushing that ticker. The sun is coming up. Let's see if we can see that. The big orange ball. Great thing about this trail is you don't have to deal with cars. You go under all the roads. Pretty historical bridge here. I don't know how old it is. Pretty old. It's a long time since they made lights like that. Another river crossing. Hello again. Coming by on your left. Coming by on your left. Thank you. Coming by on your left. Thank you. So here I am in Signal Hill, Pacific Coast Highway and Temple Avenue. And because I live in a flat beach city, this is the closest hill to me. And the World Championship of Elliptigo gains of more than 5,000 feet in, you know, a little more than 10 miles, so or something like that. So I obviously need to be practicing on hills, and this is the closest hill to my house. It's about 7 miles away. So I think it's about 250 feet vertical, and my idea is to do it you know, as many times as I can, as hard as I can, to try to get ready for this World Championships, which is happening in about a month. And having just got the Elliptigo, not a lot of prep time, but I do have a lot of aerobic background, so I'm hoping that some of that will help me out. But here we go, some hard hills. Let's see how it goes. One thing is this Signal Hill, like a lot of the LA area, well, a lot of the LA area was originally just full of oil wells, and Signal Hill, although it's a fairly affluent neighborhood now because of its height, you know, up in the hills is more attractive, but it still has oil wells right next to some of these residences. This is a pretty steep hill. It might be hard to tell in the video. Pretty steep, and then it gets steeper. Those are the choices. Back up off to the left. You might be able to see oil wells working. So you got a couple $1 million house right next to working oil wells. Oh, there's one, see? Oh, so I should mention why they call this Signal Hill. So we're on the unceded thousands of years home of the Tongva people. That's what they're known as today, and there's still some folks around. But this was their land, and their relatives lived out on Catalina Island, you know, about 20 miles across the water. And again, if it were not hazy out on the ocean, you can see it. This is called Signal Hill because the Tongva would be, on a clear day, would climb up onto the top of this hill and signal to their relatives on Catalina Island, you know, 20 miles across the sea. And they would signal back, probably using either smoke or fire as a signal source, you know, some kind of, you know, unique to them sort of Morse code system, I imagine, to communicate to each other. And that's why it's called Signal Hill. So, and of course, I don't know if you can see on that sign, it says Signal Hill Petroleum. So we all, folks come from Europe came in and, you know, forced the locals out and made our fortunes on the millions of dead microorganisms turned into oil. Anyway, this is a great place. I'm pretty excited about having this amazing hill just 7 miles from my house, and not a bad 7 miles. Bike lanes virtually the whole way. So I'm going to be doing lots of reps on this to try to get ready for the World Championships coming up in about a month. It's funny, I was on a call with Elliptigo folks, Brian, the CEO, and maybe about half a dozen or a dozen others I think it was orientation about the upcoming World Championships, and I had mentioned that I'd been traveling, doing some long rides on the San Gabriel River bike trail, but that it's fairly flat, and do you think that would be adequate for getting ready for the World Championships? And everyone said, no, you'd be going up steep hills. So this is why I'm here. Only about 250 vertical gain, I think, but if you go hard enough and do it enough times, it should get me ready. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. All right, okay, halfway up. You can see the views here. Looking toward San Gabriel Mountains, LA Basin. And it gets steeper. Here's the top, appropriately named promontory. Heart rate in the 160s. Now in the future, I'll just turn around and go down immediately, but I might as well, for people watching this, show a little bit of the amazing views. So that way is the famous ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles. You can see ships waiting to get into port. At the height of the COVID bottleneck, there were more than 50 ships that were docking out there. You might be able to see there's a marine layer a few miles out, and if that weren't there, we'd see Catalina Island. It's a beautiful view. I mean, it's nice now, but Catalina Island is a spectacular view, and it's kind of out in the fog there. But what you're looking at there is downtown Long Beach, and then so to the left, those cranes are Port of Long Beach, and then to the right, the red cranes out in the distance are Port of Los Angeles. And over there in the distance, that hill is the Palos Verdes Peninsula. If you look at a map of LA area, it sort of juts out into the ocean, and the coast goes from kind of facing to the west to suddenly facing the south after it. And there's even longer hills over there. But the ride to them, it's only 7 miles to the beginning of the Signal Hill. The ride over to there is more like 15 miles from my house, and it's through a very industrial, horribly paved, no room for bikes kind of traffic. I did it once. It was a beautiful day to be up on the Palos Verdes Peninsula, but not very nice riding to and from, and I'm kind of really opposed to the idea of getting in a car to ride to a place to ride a bike, you know. So I'm not going to be doing that with the Elliptigo. I'm gonna Elliptigo from home, and this is a pretty good hill. I got my heart rate into the mid 160s on that first rep, so the subsequent reps will probably be even higher. Anyway, let's fly downhill now, and maybe when I come up again I'll show you the other side, which is looking towards greater Los Angeles. It's still hazy, but be able to see something probably. So here we are at the bottom, Temple and Pacific Coast Highway. Time to scream back up. I'll turn it off now, but I'll do some video on the other side, looking towards the main part of Los Angeles. Now we're looking more towards the greater LA basin. Again, it's too bad it's so hazy. That's really, by and large, that's not so much air pollution as it is coastal moisture that hasn't burned off yet. I get out early in the morning. But that's Long Beach Airport in the foreground. And this is not my normal up route, but I did it to show you the LA Basin. And we're gonna come around here, and those mountains are the Santa Monica Mountains. In the distance there, San Fernando Valley's behind them. Santa Monica is off to the right here. Not right in the, just right. There's things like Torrance and Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach, the South Bay. But that's, it's too bad. If it's crystal clear, it's really spectacular. But you can get a feel for it.